the other day I asked if you would like to see a video showcasing all the different brands in the store so that we could show you the differences between all of them. There's lots of differences. It's not just on price. It can be something to do with supplements that are put into the food, the coarseness, the way that it's being ground. There's lots of differences, so as we go through you'll find out what those are. So, starting with Durham, let's have a look at this one. So everyone knows this is one of our biggest sellers. The chubs, all chubs are 454 grams, and if you weren't aware, they have a fantastic little way of being opened. Look at the side here, and you peel it open. So there's no need for a knife, no need for scissors, it's just really nice and easy to open. Take it over to the board and we'll have a look at it. So this has been defrosted in the fridge overnight, so it's still a little bit frosty, but absolutely fine for you to see the difference in the meat. So you can see that it's quite coarse, there's a little bit of bone there, so you can see there's evidence of the bone in this particular brand, but it is quite chunky. So that's our Durham. Now the closest match you're going to get to Durham in terms of coarseness and very close in price is Birmingham Raw. Now this is a chub which has been vacuum packed. As you can see, it sort of all starts to ooze out as you open it. Our trick is to tell you that defrost it ever so slightly in the fridge overnight and then take it out of its packaging so that you don't lose the meat inside the plastic. But if we squeeze a little bit out here onto the board just so that you can see it, so you can see the coarseness of it, you can see small fragments of bone in that as well, but it's got a nice colour to it, very similar to the Durham, although this one in comparison is slightly darker, but they are all still 80-10-10, so 80% meat, 10% bone, 10% offal. So going on to the next brand, which will be ever so slightly more in price. This is chicken from Dougies, and the price is, Jodie? £2.60. £2.60. Let's have a look at that. So just, we didn't mention the price actually. So it's £2 a chub in the Durham,
£1.60 in the
£1.60 in the Birmingham, and then this is the Dougies. So as we said, it's portioned into 140 gram sections. It's nice and easy for you to work out how much you are feeding. And let's have a look at that one in the chicken. So this is much more like a pate. There's not really much coarseness in that at all, and you cannot find any evidence of bone in there. Anything else that's interesting to note on Dougies?
I think it's just, as you said before, it's so convenient to have the chubs, especially smaller dogs. It normally works out exactly that they're either having one or two pieces a day, and you have, even if they're not, you can take 2 out, put it back in the freezer, and you haven't got to worry about portion sizes too much or anything like that.
And the other really good thing about Dougies is it defrosts a little quicker because of it being in smaller pieces than these that are much harder because they're more dense than their throats. The Essentials range from Paleo Ridge. Look at this one, you can see lots more in there. There's a bit more in there than just what we've been looking at with the other brands. Jodie, tell us a bit more about this one.
So they brought it out, it must have got to be about 6 months ago. It's really good value for money, at only £3 for 500 grams. And the difference with this one is they have added you 10% veg. So it's seasonal veg and things like that. I think it's a little bit more finer than the normal Paleo, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's, the
other Paleo is quite lumpy, quite chunky, a bit like when you get to see the Cotswold, I'd say more similar to that.
Yeah.
But this is a finer gram one. You've still got evidence of the little bits of bone in there, but you have got the veg, which is great.
Yeah.
Now one thing I'm going to talk about in here, you see this little bit of bloody liquid. Now most people will think that that's blood, and a lot of people just discard it and don't put it into the bowl, but you must put it. There's so much goodness in that.
So much iron and nutrients.
Yeah, so do not get rid of that. Always make sure you pour it onto the food when you serve it.
And obviously the Paleo, it's all organic and natural as well, and also the packaging is decomposable, so it's all recyclable.
Yeah.
And they're local.
And they're local. They're really local.
Nice. Yeah.
So moving on to these two at the back here. This is Benyfit Natural. This is the chicken meat feast, and the chicken in from Natural Instinct. Both in similar packaging. This one comes in 1 kilo and 500, as does the Benyfit Natural. In sort of like a Chinese tub, if you like. It's quite nice when you're not feeding the whole pack, but you can put it back in the fridge and cover it over. Let's take a look at that as we fork it through.
So the Benyfit Natural doesn't have veg. It's an 80-10-10. It is a working dog range. A lot of them you can either have like a natural, what we call a natural range, or a working dog. The difference is that it's got 5% more protein with the working dog. So, but you know, if you don't have a working dog, there's no problem at all feeding working dog ranges.
Now, what you see in this one is you don't tend to get that little bit of sort of bloody
dry
residue. It's quite a dry, it's much drier food, but again, it looks kind of quite pate-like. Still a few bits of bone in there, much smaller than what we saw in Durham, but still evidence of that in there. So that's the Benyfit Natural chicken. Let's have a look at Natural Instinct. Now, being a larger tub, this didn't defrost quite as well as the smaller one, but look at this one. That really, you really can see the veg in this one, can't you? The colour is looks quite tasty actually, with the bits of carrot and what have you. Anything else that we want to make a note of?
Well, I would probably say out of all the ranges, that would be the smoothest one that we do. So if your dog likes a nice pate, smoother consistency, Natural Instinct is, you know, or Benyfit Natural would probably be the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. Now the prices range on Benyfit Natural from.
So the it's about £3.50 for the 500.
Yep.
Natural Instinct is very similar, and you're talking about I think it's about £4.50 for a kilo.
Super. Now the next one we'll show you, which is one of my favourites in the store, is Cotswold. Now what's really interesting about this company is the meat that they buy is from the same supplier as Marks and Spencer's. So this isn't just ordinary dog food. So this I've always likened to a mashed up roast dinner.
And it smells really nice.
It does smell really nice. This is again the chicken complete, but you can see really nice big bits of vegetable in here, and the green veg. So it's very, very evident indeed, in fact. So yeah, that's a really nice food. And then finally, and a really super brand is Nutriment. Now I'll just make a little bit of space on the board for you. Move this one over. We'll pop some onto the board so you can take a look. Now this one, we're starting to not be able to see the difference, in fact, between the Natural Instinct and the Nutriment. There are some really fantastic products in this Nutriment range as well. They do cater for lots of different needs of dogs. Perhaps you could talk us through that, Jodie.
Yes, so Nutriment is really good. They, for certain elements, so pancreatitis, liver issues, kidney issues, they do have specific food designed for that. So the low phosphorus would have low purine, so it would be tripe and fish, that sort of thing. Yeah, they've really dedicated a lot of time to help stuff like that. But then also the Paleo do a special diet.
Yes, they do.
You know, so for pancreatitis, gut and kidney issues, they do have specific food designed for that. So the low phosphorus would have low purine, so it would be tripe and fish, that sort of thing. Yeah, they've really dedicated a lot of time to help stuff like that.
That is everything. Those are all the brands that we have in store. We cater for a different pocket, different needs for every dog, and we hope that that's been really informative and helped you to make some buying decisions as well. And it might help you to sort of add some variety into your dog's diet as well. So there might be a brand that you're sticking to at the moment that you recognise well, but might want to try one or two just to sort of add that variety in, or have a special meal one day a week.